So to round out this section, we're going to go ahead and begin talking about trunk strengthening. Now, I have kind of 5 exercises listed here that I feel like really focus on ensuring we're working the trunk in all 3 planes of motion, as well as the same sagittal plane or forwards and backwards plane, but with a couple different spins on it. So we're going to go ahead and kind of run through these one by one, maybe give you some different ideas on how you can modify them along the way. Um, and I'll try to give you a little bit of my reasoning as to why I think they're important. So starting here with a full sit-up, I like this because it's very direct as far as ab strength and the ability to get up off the floor. It's going to add a little bit of spinal compression, so depending on back sensitivity, you may not be appropriate for it yet. But ideally working up to the point where we can do multiple full sit-ups under control. Ways that you can help improve on this. So if you're just doing it independently and you're having some difficulty there, anchoring your feet underneath something solid can give you a little bit of assistance. I've had people in the clinic who can't do a full sit-up yet, where I'll hold a rope or something so they can start to use their arms to help facilitate that motion. It's a good way to kind of work towards, again, that abdominal control, a little bit of spinal compression in and out of compression positions, but with a little bit of assistance. So we're changing from a forwards and backwards direction core strengthening into more of a side to side or frontal plane strengthening. We're going to do side plank raises. So first, the modified version where we have our knees bent. We want to think about our knees, hips, and shoulders all in a straight line as we hoist ourselves up, come back down, and tap. My arm positioning, I'm thinking about my elbow being right underneath my shoulder, so I'm nice and stable through the shoulder and into the neck. And as I raise up, I should feel that bottom side contract through here. We're wanting to really focus on that side to side control. Now, a way to advance this is we can straighten the legs out, go through our raises, tap, and lift. There's other variations where you could do a raise with a leg raise, raise with an arm raise, all different ways that you can kind of start to modify that. But again, I think the important piece with that is that we're working spinal control in that lateral side to side plane of motion. Now from here, we're going to go into a bird dog. So this is going back into the sagittal or the forwards and backwards plane of motion, but more for the back trunk at this time. So we're going to position ourselves in all fours, making sure our hands are underneath our shoulders and our knees are underneath our hips. Now our goal with this is to keep a pretty straight level back as we reach out with one hand and the opposite foot. So my first repetition, I'm going to reach out with my right hand and back with my left foot, with the goal being that I'm trying to reach those walls, the wall in front of me and the wall behind me, pausing for a couple moments and then alternating. Really trying to focus on keeping a straight back, trying not to allow my pelvis to twist or drop too much, but keeping everything nice and level as I alternate side to side. Now with this one, you could start to advance it with ankle weights, hand weights, tie a band around a thigh and a hand, different resistance bands. You could start to integrate different pulls out in front of you. So maybe you have bands anchored in front of you and start to kind of push and pull those. A lot of different ways that you can start to advance that. Now we're going to transition into the rotational plane of motion, or the transverse plane. Now here, we're going to look at resisted rotations. I don't have a full length band on hand right now, so I'm just going to go ahead and use like my hip band to kind of demonstrate where I would place it and how I would hold it. So we're going to be in a laid back position here, with the motion being focused on a lower trunk rotation through the knees while my upper half stays flat. So I'm laying here, going through our rotation. Now the resisted part comes from you, or if you have your band anchored to a post or something like that. So we can hold on to the band out to the side and do resisted rotations against that tension through there. So the way that that would look from the front side is here. You have your band around your knees and then your anchor out to the side here. So if I had a longer band, I would hold it out here as I was doing rotations. But what I want to go for is pulling against that resistance. So feeling more of our obliques working or the side trunk working. The reason that this is important is because our disc needs rotation, our joints need rotation, and it's one of those directions that we don't often think about. But if we're really thinking about generating power, being stable, good mechanics when we're walking, we need that element of trunk rotation for strength and endurance. Ways that you can advance this, you could be doing them laying on your back. Other ways of working rotation could be in standing, like standing chops, um, weighted swings or raises and diagonal patterns. So a lot of different ways that you could work on resisted rotation. But this is probably one of the easier ones to implement at home and do it safely. Now, the last one that we're going to look at is ab rollouts. It's another sagittal plane or forwards and backwards direction of motion. But what this one emphasizes now is the opposite of the crunch. The crunch focused on contraction while shortening and working there. This one focuses on eccentric or lengthening under tension type of contraction and control. So there's a lot of different things that you could be using. I'm going to use an ab wheel, which is a little bit harder than, let's say, like an ab dolly, which is like this saucer looking thing that has wheels on the bottom that you can put on your forearms and roll out. I have people oftentimes use a big Swiss like exercise blow up ball where they can do rollouts. But for today's purposes, this is what I have on hand. And so this is what I'll demonstrate with. As we go into this motion, we want to make sure that we try to keep our belt buckle tucked up towards our chest so our pelvis is tucked underneath us and our abs are engaged before we even start to move. And then we're going to start to glide out through here and only going as far as we can reach while under control. So as we go through this, we should be thinking about keeping our abs tight, back nice and straight, and then pulling ourselves back up. Should feel that through the abs, up into the lats, maybe a little bit into your triceps. Things that we don't want to allow happen is as we start to come out here, that our spine wants to dip forward here. Then we start to get too much low back compression and overactivity back here, and it starts to defeat the purpose. We want to keep things tight in the front and our back and posture nice and straight and load into the front trunk. So hopefully that gives you some different ideas on ways that we can work on trunk strengthening and especially working it in all three planes of motion. Sometimes we get kind of stuck on one or two different exercises that we do for our core, or maybe one or two different directions that we tend to move to consistently. So hopefully this gives you some different ideas on how we can keep ourselves strong, but then also as well as keeping our connective tissue and our joints healthy and moving through as much range of motion as they got.